one must ask the question, how would the family of Clyde Williams feel about his release?
And that's how I put it on the flip side. That's how I put it on the flip side, say that one justice, people looking on would say the justice system works. And they can still believe that here what, whether you're rich or poor, the persons are in charge, follow the teeth of the law and apply the principle. And so they can reassure of Clive Williams' family that here what, they did not buy the argument that says he was sick and time spent. They stick to the law and upheld that section if they have him remained in prison. So one could be reassured of that to hear what. We don't have to kill up yourself. They make application for bail and the judge slam dunk it and say, here what, it is not granted. So they can be reassured if he doesn't get bail and say, here what, the system works. Why would we make it up such a nice? But if he gets out, then people can say, well, the system do work at the same time because the application would be fair and just. So any side to take it.
And any side, you're right. At the end of the day, whatever the outcome will be, it will not be pleasing to one side. You know,
precisely.
right? Because if he does not get bail, the other person going to say the system is unjust, and if he gets bail, then there will be people who are unhappy and say that there's injustice from the Clyde Williams side of family and supporters. So that's well said, definitely. Right, so there is an article from the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen, that we have sort of summarized and put into context where we have got the information on regarding this case, right? That is coming before the court of Mr. Adidja Palmer. And we have basically just spoke about all this already. If you want to see the full article, you can visit that website, which is shown there. And hopefully you guys will be able to have a read of it. Let me just see if I can quickly just sort of put it up here. All right, so here is the website, ladies and gentlemen. You can view, take a look at the article, which we have read from ourselves and have brought to you basically a summary of our understanding and what the article, basically outlined. So here is it, ladies and gentlemen. When you guys have time, you can definitely go through it in greater details. Yes. So the last part here is really the essence of the case. During the trial, prosecutors allege that Mr. William and another man had been given two unlicensed firearms belonging to Mr. Palmer. When the pair did not return the weapons on time, they were summoned to Mr. Palmer's house, where Mr. Williams was killed. According to prosecutors who relied on evidence on Mr. Palmer's cell phone to advance their case, Mr. Williams' body was never found. And all four defendants had pleaded not guilty. So that is the synopsis of the case and a background of actually what had happened and transpired back in 2011. Fast forward, which has brought us here today in regards to this case. Right, so definitely, ladies and gentlemen, you can visit this website, visit this website, and you can get a further understanding of this article from the New York, and this was actually published by the New York Times from in the United States. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting. So it is, as I said, it's a very interesting case before the court. yes, and whatever the outcome is, here on the Rose Corner, whatever the outcome will be of this case, we believe in the court of law,
Yes.
and we do understand, we're mindful that procedures and cases are not always perfect. Yeah. And the law and well, practitioners who practice in this space and who do their work in due diligence may not always get it right. Yeah. But for the most part, it has been sort of a statute within our constitution, yeah, to have always to always seek to uphold law and order, and whatever outcome that the law gives us, that is, it's one of fairness, yes, and we respect the law, whichever side it falls on. And
Absolutely.
that is why I always hear they say evidence is important, because you
Yes.
can't charge a man without evidence. Yes.
That
And the
is
evidence has to be what they call it, Mr. Robbins, evidence has to be forged up. It has to be there in plain sight. Right?
yes.
It has to be there in
So
plain sight.
absolutely, Chris. I can remember that day, Chris. I was on my way to the seminary because I was having evening class at JTS, and
Yes.
I can't forget the evening in after three on that bus to Lawrence Tavern and up Constant Spring Road there. And I was tuning into Nationwide. At that time, Emily,
Emily
from
Crooks was there.
yes,
Yes.
yes, she didn't married at the time. Now Emily Sheeds. And I
Yes.
can remember listening to Nationwide that evening, and trust me, when the news break, it's like there was a sense of silence. You could hear a pin drop in the bus. And you know, those buses that travel Constant Spring to Tavern, Golden Spring, ever have music. But
Yeah.
I tell everybody locked in.
So you
But I
say,
can remember,
if you drop a penny, you could hear it.
but I tell the only thing, the only thing I hear is just the four wheels by the bus. But
Oh,
me I tell her,
yeah.
Chris, if I drop a pin, I could hear it, me I tell her.
Yeah.
But I can remember that day, trust me, going to classes that evening, trust me, I tell her, it was something else on that day. And the truth of the matter is this, and that's why now we have this issue with the constitution, and both government is trying to settle off on to update the constitution and so forth. And it's critical enough. And my belief is always like this, that I think the government at the day should have the constitution print in booklet form, or like the New Testament Bibles, those small ones they usually give out to students in school. The small New Testament Bible is small, about like your phone.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the Jamaican Constitution should be reprinted in small booklets, the basic, in a list of 10 um, um, constitutional rights that a citizen have. Um, I never seen the American Constitution yet before. I've read it online, but I never see it in a printed form. So I would say for person to
University in a
understand,
printed form, you should watch the 2016 Democratic and the Democrat National
Republic Convention,
Democrats convention in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was the nominee.
yes,
They had I guess a Gold
yes,
Star family. Their son
yes,
was a soldier in Afghanistan who lost his life. And they were awarded the Gold Star from the
yes,
U.S. military, and they attended the convention, and the
yes.
father hold up the Constitution
Oh,
and
yes.
blasted Donald Trump.
Yeah, I can
He
remember
said
that
that
now. Yes,
he said
yes.
that we are immigrants, but we read the Constitution. Have you read the Constitution?
And so, similar to that, it would be great if Jamaican could model that and have a small booklet. So every students in school, start from the school, because
Yeah, from the school, yes, from
persons
primary,
above,
from primary
yes,
up. Mhm.
yes, because those who set in there always cannot be changed now. So you'd
Yeah,
have to ensure that the Constitution is given to all students in
and the
school.
students understand
And
of the Constitution and what the Constitution is about.
exactly,
Have a public education on it.
absolutely. So person understand, and why we're pushing it to the Constitution, so person understand how law works and how it
Mhm.
operates. So
Mhm.
in cases like this that we are reviewing here, the Vybz Kartel case, person understand what the law says and how it applies. Remember, persons are expert in their field will not always agree with each
Mhm.
other,
Mhm.
because of interpretation and so forth. But in terms of this case, I think when the decision is being made on June 10th, Chris, all eyes will be on Jamaica from
Mhm.
an international point of view, with a press and locally, in terms of how we handle
What the
cases.
outcome is going to be? Mhm.
Yes, and so I want to drop this point in, Chris. I don't want to stray away from the point. But eh, it's critical, we understand line, because some person would look at this case and says, here what? They did have to went all the way to UK to get a retrial here. We're not talking about the procedures. We're just looking about the steps.
Right.
If you do a crime, you go to court. If you're not agree with the judgment, then you can appeal and go to the privy courts. Yeah, courts, and
Appeal
then
it
go to
to the
privy
judge.
courts.
Right.
Yes, and so. So I'm just looking at that. I'm not looking at the details. And I'm looking at it
Mhm.
and saying that some Jamaicans would want to keep the Privy Council, and some would want to go to the CCJ. But I'm just making a point here. And I'm not looking about the reasons then. But one of the main cases that some persons are happy to see an independent person, whether a person white or black, but they prefer somebody outside of the country
To
look at
make
their
to make
case.
to start to make an independent decision based on
This, that, right.
the evidence. Mhm.
And so whether or not, if the independent person outside says here what they were right in the first place, they would somehow accept it. And I'm looking to myself and saying, but this could be hypocritical, because on one end, it could mean that you don't trust our
Our own
people,
system. Mhm.
your own system, because if the system out here says here what you are wrong, and you think you are right, and you go to an independent person, don't know nothing about you, and say, here what, you're wrong, you lose the case too. And say, you're going to spend the time. Then the question would be to those who out here says the system is not fair. What would you say if when time it goes to the independent and they say you are wrong as well? So we can't have it two way.
Two
Is
way.
either is either we are for our people,
Mhm.
are we against? And I always say this, Chris, those men and women from slavery did not go into the field with those lashes, picking cotton in the field and singing those African songs for us to be in freedom now and fighting against our own brothers and sisters. Because
That's
if we go back, if we send back for Paul Bogle, Samuel Sharp, trust me, they would not please with us today,
not at
because
all.
they would not be pleased. I know time is gone, but to be continued.
To be continued, my brother. There's so much to say. There's so much to say.
Yes,
I want to thank you for sharing that insight with us. Very important. Very some underlying
yes,
importance of what you said. Well said. And by the way, we should let all the audience know that there was a decree which was signed by the King, King Charles, which was sent to the government of Jamaica. Basically, it states that the government is now responsible
the
for
payout.
for Mr. Palmer's law fees, which the last number I checked, it was at 150 million Jamaican dollars.
Oh my
But
God.
that's a lot of burden lifted off the shoulders of Mr. Palmer.
Uh,
I
that's
don't know
it.
if Nigel Clark will be so happy, but
No new tax. I think
It's
I
gonna
think
come in his head now, man. Lord
uh,
Jesus.
Chris, that money could do me well with
Ah!
a fortnight at Grand Palladium in Andover right now. The owner for Grand
Yes,
Palladium put me up for a week for this one.
yes.
Grand
Oh
Palladium Hotel,
goodness.
man. Yes,
Oh my
yes,
gosh. So
yes.
I mean, wonderful, wonderful discussion. I want to thank you, Mr. Robinson, for sharing your insight with us on the topic. Leave a comment down below and let us know what are your thoughts on the case of Mr. Adidja Palmer. And do you believe or do you think that he will be released before the retrial hearing begins on June 10, 2024? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the Rose Corner if you haven't as yet. Remember to tell a friend about the Rose Corner YouTube channel. Until next time, God bless. Thank you for watching.